Hello and welcome. This video is a historiographical analysis of the now infamous BitTorrent website, the Pirate Bay. We explore several themes surrounding P2P culture through the evolution of the Pirate Bay's homepage, represented here by the screenshots obtained using the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine. Let's start at the beginning, where Gottfrid Svartholm, Fredrik Ney, and Peter Sunde, Swedish IT experts with ties to the Pirate Byron, started the Pirate Bay in September 2003. As we swiftly move along 2004 here, we notice that less than a year after the launch, the site already has almost 20,000 members, and still catered mostly to their Swedish audience, as demonstrated here by their language of choice. Yet their international ambitions were already transparent through the use of English in their logo and technical updates. Interestingly, since its inception, advertising financed the site's operation, as we can see here. Following their growing popularity, copyright owners didn't wait long to engage in legal battles. Interestingly, the item Legal Threats was added in the top right menu 2 months before the Motion Picture Association of America filed a criminal complaint in Sweden against the Pirate Bay. The site's visibility was growing each day. Due to the steep rise in its user base, the help item, along with the advertising of its IRC channel, was added to guide newcomers to the world of BitTorrent file sharing. These examples demonstrate the peer-to-peer culture of mutual support. The growing administrative costs pushed the organization to expand the donation options. Interestingly, at the time, cash by mail was an accepted form of payment. And around the same time, we can see the introduction of the webmail feature, paving way to many other side projects that expanded the Pirate Bay's activities. As we quickly move along here, we get to June 2005, where a redesigned version was announced. The new Pirate Bay looked and felt more like a search engine, to an extent like Google, even copying the search giant's I'm feeling lucky button in its interface. The entire content was now presented in English by default. It did not, however, part with its philosophy, and its recurring stance on copyrighted material was displayed through the introduction of CopyMe's logo. Its help section was renamed to How Do I Download?, a newcomer-friendly message, in contrast to the usual RTFM culture commonly associated with hackers. The pervasiveness of BitTorrents pushed most of its clients to merge with popular web technologies such as RSS. Subsequently, in September 2005, the RSS feed link was included in the bottom of the page. As we go through 2005, we get to December the 5th, where a second donation option appears. Consequently, as if to suggest there weren't enough donations, a third plea for help appears through the message, "The tracker needs your help." By then, the Pirate Bay was just shy of 1 million members. Counterintuitively, the pleas for donation weren't destined for legal funds. This was clarified by the 2006 January 2nd message, "Thank you, new hardware coming," exemplifying their rapid growth and consequent need for infrastructural upgrade. By January 2006, there were 859,000 registered members. 4 days later, that number dropped to 750,000. We were not able to identify the causes of this discrepancy. Whether a database outage or legal repercussions were the reasons behind the anomaly is unclear and yet to be documented. In the same month, 2 notable and important changes were implemented. Firstly, news was replaced by blog, thereby adapting their terminology to contemporary internet culture. Secondly, as you can see clearly, the Pirate Shop appears as an alternative fundraising strategy. Products branded with the Pirate Bay's imagery and rhetoric further cement the organization as a movement rather than just a website. As we get to May the 31st, the Swedish police, prompted by allegations of copyright violations, organized a raid on the Pirate Bay, confiscating servers and causing it to go offline for 3 days. We can see the initial tone of their response through their June 11th logo, picturing their ship gunning down Hollywood. If we speed up along here, up until the end of 2006, a number of changes take place. Both the donate options disappear, indicating a possible reliance on their shop products, or legal liability following the raid and possible trial. Also representative of TV show popularity and demand at the time, a TV show option is added to the top menu. By the end of the year, a search cloud is installed, representing their adoption of new content indexing techniques. In January 2007, the Pirate Bay tried to purchase the unrecognized Principality of Sealand, an abandoned fort in international waters on the coast of the UK, in an attempt to emancipate themselves from copyright jurisdiction. These intentions were visible through their Sealand logo changes. Its so-called government, though, rejected the deal on legal grounds. A new plan was devised to buy an unrelated island instead, and even though it did not come to fruition, €15,000 were raised in donations for this cause. As we're moving through 2007, some minor changes were implemented. A link to their usage policies were introduced, perhaps in an effort to be more transparent regarding their responsibilities in the file sharing process. Their forum moves to the forefront in their lower menu as well, as an indication of the importance attributed to their community. And other side projects like BayImage, an uncensored image hosting service, Slopsbox, a disposable email address service, and the beta music feature are launched. In September, leaked emails from anti-piracy company Media Defender revealed that Motion Picture Association of America member studios hired them to pollute the Pirate Bay's torrent database. As we can see, this was reflected in their logo of choice. The Pirate Bay's political stances are again exemplified through its banner Free Burma, in support of its Burmese activists. Speeding along here to 2008, with the site now boasting over 2 million users, its founders and one of its business associates were officially charged by Swedish prosecutors for promoting other people's infringements of copyright. Unfortunately, perhaps in consequence of this legal battle, no pages were archived by the Wayback Machine until May. 2008, though, proved to be a turbulent legal year for the website, with a separate court blog introduced as it faced court-mandated blocks in Denmark and Italy, later overturned. On September the 23rd, the Swedish rapper Timbuktu released a single through the Pirate Bay, deepening the discussions of copyright through an artist's perspective, in an attempt to validate the torrent scene as a viable platform for the distribution of legitimate content. At the same time, we can see that Tag Cloud appears in the lower menu, another example of their adoption of new content filtering mechanisms. Finding our way to 2009, the site hits the 3 million registered user mark. As administrative and legal costs grew, including an impending trial date, a Support the Pirate Bay banner was included to direct even more traffic to their shop. Though not officially associated with Anonymous, their support is shown here through satirical representation of Scientology, in celebration of the first anniversary of Project Chanology, including a shot at Monique Wadstad, a lawyer for Sweden's Motion Picture Association. On February 16th, the trial of the Pirate Bay's founders begins. Their defense lawyer, in his opening statement, uses the now famous King Kong argument, with which he argues the actions of the Pirate Bay's real users, such as that of King Kong, cannot be considered the defendant's own actions. This was immediately humorously depicted on the site, accompanied by a The Trial Begins side banner. To further exemplify their stance on file sharing and its legality, they post a cartoon detailing the flaws in the prosecutor's logic. Even while engaged in the legal battle, the Pirate Bay's commitment to their user base and vision was evident through their launch of two other services, PasteBay for note sharing, and iPredator, a paid virtual private networking service focused on privacy. As we move ahead to April the 18th, the day after the founders are found guilty and sentenced to 1 year in prison and a fine of around €2.7 million, they post the messages visible here, as if to reaffirm the strength of their online community and reassure users of the Pirate Bay's continuity. 2 months later, they would receive an eventually doomed offer of acquisition by Swedish gaming company Global Gaming Factory. Their political activism is once again displayed on the eve of the European parliamentary election. The Swedish Pirate Party went on to receive 7.13% of the total Swedish votes, which eventually guaranteed them 2 seats in the European Parliament. Towards the end of 2009, they reaffirmed their support of free software as they linked to Firefox and Miro. 2010 is a relatively quiet period in stark comparison to previous years. This is not to say the user base growth stagnates at all. On the contrary, the steady growth is consistent with now over 4 million registered users, as well as brief ventures into e-commerce with pirate shops and e-dating with Pirate Date. An even more ambitious attempt to validate the torrent model for content distribution is visible through their support of Pioneer 1, the first ever made-for-torrent series. The site also stays true to its political and copyright stances, with 2 notable examples. The first that we can see here in September is their condemnation of the Gallo Report, what many see as a stepping stone for new legislation regarding the criminalization of sharing of copyrighted files across the European Union. The second example is visible on December the 24th, with the logo depicting a Christmas wish list with a humorous undertone, including a dig at politicians Sarah Palin and Silvio Berlusconi. Now with just under 5 million users, a legally battle-hardened administration, and a thriving community, the site remains mostly unchanged throughout 2011. Their support for free speech is once again displayed in opposition of a Hungarian law through one of the most prominent actions to date, a 24-hour blackout. Around the same time, the organization adopts Twitter as an official communication channel. It's important to realize that this historiographical narrative reaffirms the Pirate Bay as more than just a BitTorrent tracking website, but as a significant, important political movement with its own clearly defined ideals. As a major traffic generator, it had to adapt itself by adopting new web tools and technologies to better serve its audience. However, that audience no longer revolves around the simple act of downloading copyrighted content, but also in the engagement of the defense of core internet values, such as freedom of speech, anonymity, and privacy, as exemplified by the series of changes we've just journeyed through.